Remember, 1 in 5 streamers stream prematurely, and it is a problem that can be sorted out by clicking the button on. How is everybody tonight? Hope everybody's well. Kind of setup. Stuff happening. Greetings, everyone. How are we all? Hope you all are doing on this fine Friday/Saturday/Sunday, depending on where you are. I think most of the world will be on Saturday by now, but time zones, time travel, it's all. I might actually start Joshua streaming every week. I'm not sure. Definitely be on a Saturday if I do. Which is normally it's kind of like a rest day, but this is mostly rest stuff, so. Greetings, Adam. How are we doing? So, as the stream says, this is going to be a pretty chill stream. I've been buying some sets for Magic the Gathering, but I haven't done anything with them because the shops didn't have any perfect sleeves. I like to sleeve my cards before I put them in the file. So yesterday we got a whole bunch, and then today we can sit and sleeve, which is, enough to keep everybody occupied, but you guys can ask me questions, we can have a chat while I do this. Got a playlist list in the background, which is the normal background music I play in the videos. Some of it might be familiar. I've got my mustard bottle. I've got my coffee. I'm pretty good. I think it's always been expensive relative to everything else, but yeah, it's gotten a lot worse now. Especially with the last couple sets. That's why I'm trying to collect older sets. Nostalgia sets. Good evening, Jack. How you doing? It is my pleasure. Hood86. Glad you're enjoying the content. The health's doing okay. I think the infection is mostly done. I've been off the antibiotics for, 2 days now? 3 days, cortisone and antibiotics. You can see in the last couple of videos, I was very puffy and from all that medication. So, yeah, I think I'm doing okay. Seeing the doctor on Tuesday. And if the infection is all cleared up, then we'll probably set a date for the surgery. It'll probably be a week or two after the consultation. Thank you very much, Jack, for the donation. It is very much appreciated. I'm enjoying MTG. And I'm coming back to it after, I don't know, a 20-year gap. Playing mostly Commander, but it gets me out of the house once a week, so that's mainly the role. And then I also find tracking packs, sorting cards, and filling up a file very relaxing. So this is basically my only hobby at this point. The only hobby I can afford. Because it's an expensive hobby. Tell you what. Yes, it definitely is fancy cardboard. Yeah. That is definitely true. Well, you definitely shouldn't have a breeze in your cards. Good evening, Grey Ghost. I find Commander quite enjoyable. It's a less serious format, and you get to talk shit, wind people up. Like I said, mainly gets me out of the house, which is How you doing, Vault? Hope your load shedding isn't too bad. You guys will say if I'm coming through clearly. So like I said, it's a bit of a new setup. Microphone is a bit angry. Do have some background music playing. There we go. Dramatic background music. Well, I also collect, which is in 2023 a ridiculous thing to say. So I try to collect base sets, but if I've got doubles and stuff, I trade and sell those with other players. Get cards that I want, either for my decks or for my collection. Okay, well, ours ended about an hour ago. So, I think it was an hour ago? Yeah, so we had dinner with no power. That was fun. For those of you who don't know, South Africa is currently in load shedding, which means we have between 2 and 12 hours a day with no power in various places. Currently, it's not that bad, so it's 4 hours in most places. But it's a daily thing now. I mean, when you only get one block of 2 hours and it's considered good, then you know you've been in load shedding for. Oh yes, definitely a black hole for the world. Especially when you've got the nostalgia bug like me. So, I started playing in '95. Sold all my cards eventually, but now I want to go and buy those sets again. So that's fun. Well, I try not to have the background music in the videos too loud to be distracting, but loud enough that it sets the mood. It's a very fine line. I think everybody should probably have a hobby, get some out of the house at least. It's nice. Well, I work from home, so the only time I ever leave the house is for hobbies and or doctors. So this is a full set of Fate Reform. I'm gonna sleeve them up and then put them into it. And then if I ever need them for a deck, I know it. Yeah, you can, but one, solar panels cost a lot of money, and two, you have to be very careful which neighborhood you're in when you put solar panels in, because the moment you put solar panels up, it tells everybody else that you've got enough money to buy solar panels. So it tends to make you a target for robbery. So even if you can afford it and you can get it, sometimes it's not the best idea to put solar panels up. I've got a couple. I play a couple precons. In case some guys don't have powerful decks. Then what am I playing? I just built a Chandra Tribal, so that's pretty. I've got a Savala CDH deck. Treebeard from the new set. I've got a set with him. What else? Animar, Rafik. A lot of creatures and Tron stuff. Well, anything that's different from the norm will attract attention from other people. So even if your house is painted more freshly than other houses around you, that could make you a target, depending on your area. My area as well. Sticking out is not great. So you try to look as much like the houses around you as possible. I wouldn't have a clue what the regulations for turbines are in South Africa. But I do know that we don't get too much wind all year round. Only around about this time we do get a lot of wind in this particular area. And then most of the other wind is very sporadic, so... One of the sunniest countries in the world. Solar panels would be perfect. I think average 8.6 hours of sunlight per day over the year. Yep, I live in South Africa, Crusader. Well, I mean, it's spring soon. Officially, I think it's the 1st of September is spring here. So we're heading into our kind of wind period / rainy period. I have heard of that game. I own that game. I just never played that. I played it for a very brief point in time. Huh. That's interesting. Which part do you hail from, Crusader, if you don't mind me asking? The other thing is we are moving out of this house. And by South African law, anything that you attach to a house, you cannot remove. So once you put solar panels onto a house, legally it's part of the house and you cannot remove. So if you're planning to move, you don't want to do stuff like that. Attach it to the ceilings and all of that, and then not be able to. That it is, Volt. That it is. In fact, I bumped into a fan on Sunday. Somebody recognized me out in the wild, and it was an experience. Creepy circus music. Big creatures. That's basically it. I mean, the only creature tribal I have is like maybe a tree folk tribal. So maybe that. But I'm old school magic. Dragons. Dragons are always. So if I did a attached solar panels to the house and then put the house on sale, the realtors and people who come visit the house will see that the solar panels are attached. At that point, if I remove the solar panels, it becomes illegal. Because there are witnesses. So I would have to then not attach the solar panels and then put them away when realtors and stuff came to view the house. Nice, Red Vix. I just like playing weird decks. Mostly monsters, punch people in the face of big monsters, that sort of thing. It wasn't even that great. It was a guy staring at me and it's like, don't you do YouTube? I don't want to say yes, because that's a very broad statement in case he was like mistaking me for somebody else. I said, he's like, no, the guy who reads stories. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's me. That was the end of the conversation. I'm in general not a really big fan of 4X, just because of normally how much time it takes to finish a game. So, yeah. I don't get too much time to play and stuff, so quick, easy, go in, do something, and leave games are best for me. So, Vampire Survivors, and that's sort of like work and help, because you don't really need to invest a lot of continuous time into it. Well, rats is, I think, the second or third most common tribal in Commander. There are... And there's more coming with the Wilds of Eldraine coming out. I suppose I could treat it as that. It's just very odd that, I mean, most of my audience is American. And I bump into a South African that heard of me. So, chances are very slim. Although I was in a game store at the time, so... Yeah, I mean, there's still quite a lot of Survivor Becomes Done. My voice, all of that started acting up. So, unfortunately, it'll be a while before get back to series, depending on when the 2 operations are and how I recover. Okay. I don't think I said anything particularly interesting. Maybe I mumbled. Maybe there was an advert or something. The algorithm always does string. Yeah, so, until the contract's signed, as far as I understand, you should still be able to go to Royal Road and catch up to the latest chapters. But if Chrysalis is anything to go by, once the contracts are finalized and the books are in the works, there will be chapters that will be removed from Royal. So if you want to go read it, now's your time, because it might not be there. Good evening, Buggy Boos. I have thought about playing Elite Dangerous. Again, it's just I have to pick which games I play with the time I have. It's been a pretty hectic 4 or 5 years. I only started doing hobbies and stuff again about 12 months ago. So, I haven't watched many movies recently. I haven't watched any series recently or anything like that. Work, 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 and then... So I had a massive sinus infection. Which I went to my, well, not my GP. I went to a GP about. They gave me a 5-day course of antibiotics to try clear it up, which it didn't. But by coincidence, I also had a voice doctor appointment. So I went to my voice doctor, and he's also an ENT, and said, yeah, your sinuses are seriously. So he put me on 10 days of antibiotics, 10 days of cortisone, 10 days of flushing my sinuses out with an antibiotic. So get the infection under control. but they did some scans and there's structural damage in my sinuses. So what happens is that they don't drain properly, so the fluid just sits there and then increases the chances of sinusitis, which I've suffered from for many, many years. So he's like, we have to operate. Well, we don't have to operate. If you want sinusitis to stop, you have to operate. I'm like, okay. Look, it's preventing me from working, so let's get it sorted. So I had to finish the antibiotics to make sure everything's cleaned out the infection. And then I'll go in for the surgery, which they'll chip bone away inside here to widen the passages so that the fluids can drain out of the sinuses properly. And then that should stop sinusitis for the near and the long future and forever. And then once that one's finished, I go in for the second voice op. So this year, most likely, there will probably be no more series. I'm just going to plod along with TFOS because the algorithm likes TFOS. They're pretty easy to do. It keeps the channel ticking over. And then I can build up a bit of a backlog so that when I'm recovering from surgeries, I can just post those and not have to worry about keeping the channel ticking. It is my pleasure, serious business. Glad you. Good evening, Artie. How are you doing? I take it from both Reddit and Royal Road. I started on Royal Road, and then I found HFY later. A lot of the series come from Royal Road. It's just a better interface for series. And then a lot of all the TFOS come from HFY. There will be, but it won't be anytime soon. So, judging from the recovery time from the first operation, that was about a month and a half. So, allowing for a month and a half recovery from the 2 operations I have to have this year puts us in late December. So, series will begin again probably next year. Vault, if you search for me on Rumble, you shall find me. I'm on there. For no other reason than it has an auto sync. So, I create an account, I link my YouTube channel, and it automatically copies the videos across. So it's an extra backup for my videos, and it's an extra thing for people to watch. I don't ever log in. Don't think. Do anything. It is there. Sometimes it gets out of sync. There's not much I can do about it. That's a technical problem on their side. Well, I'm glad your mom enjoys it. Hopefully you enjoy it too. Keep leaning off this way. The other problem I have with Rumble is there's no playlist. Or as last time I checked. So everything is just all over the place. Okay, so I use here's a packet. It is the Dragon Shield sealable inner sleeves. You get the clear, you also get the smoky one. So the smoky one, the back is smoky, but the front is clear. I like them because it just gives you a little bit extra protection. And they fit nicely into your outer sleeves. Not too thick. Although you do have to worry if you're sleeving like this, it does make them a bit thicker. so it makes shuffling a bit more difficult. But that's a minor thing to deal with protecting your cards, I think. But you also get the Dragon Shield normal inner sleeves. They don't have this flappy bit. So it's quicker to do, but it's not quite as not. Yeah, I mean, health nanites would seriously make my life easy, but until then, we just plod along with what we can do. Crusader, Royal Road's got a lot of stories, and mostly they keep it safe for work. So, I mean, there are romances, all of that stuff, but it's not as raunchy as some of the others. Yes, energy. Always with energy. Some people like that style, some people don't. That's the way I narrate, so I can't really do monotone. I tried my hand at horror. Problem is, I'm too animated for horror. People didn't like. I stick to everything else. Yeah, root canals are not fun at the best of times. I wish you luck with those. So my biggest worry with cards normally is not dust or anything. It's more water, in case accidental water damage, and these ones do help a bit more with accidental stuff like that. Have been a couple channels that have tested. Look, I mean, there, and there are tons of stories that aren't um, romance or raunchy. Royal Road is just massive, and they're a partner with HFY, so there's cross posting as well. A lot of cross. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed Mr. Mr. KDW1. I'm glad you enjoyed the content. Well, it's just a different style. I think somber works for horror. It doesn't quite work for um, fantasy and sci-fi. And some people prefer monotone to animate. So everybody's got their own preferences. I'm just glad that people like mine. The problem with the old plastic stuff is it does become very brittle over time. I know a lot of my sleeves from 20 years ago, they become then brittle. So you do need to replace them every now and again. Okay, these cards are from Magic the Gathering. It's one of the sets in Magic the Gathering called Fate's Roof. So, LGS, my local LGS, and some of the American ones offer the ability to buy a full set. So I bought this entire set from Odd Kingdom, and then they send it to you. And I too enjoy the comedy sci-fi. It's pretty much most of my first stories in HFY were all the very shitposty type sci-fi. Singer cards. I'm not sure what those are. I'm glad you're enjoying the full stream or the 24-hour stream. Thankfully, it's not hosted in my house, so the load shedding doesn't affect it, but it does need to be updated, though. It's out of date. Yeah. So YouTube is definitely cracking down on some things, especially in NSFW stuff. So yeah, you have to be careful of what you say in relation. Otherwise, you could get your account banned or temporarily suspended. Well, there's no reason to. You can't watch anime and listen. Maybe not at the same time, but just in general. My pleasure, Crusader. Just if you've played any card game, TCG, Magic the Gathering was the. Every other one has been after that, even Pokemon. Well, it depends. I mean, with the series, it's different. But for a one shot, I tend to consider stories above 150 to 250 likes and about 5 to 15 minutes of narration time. So that's about 500 to 1500 words. Those tend to be the ones I consider first. There's been several like that, but the one I enjoyed with the Voyager one is where they found the relic, and the humans just rocked up to the auction and just outbid everyone because they forgot where home was. It depends on the set. So with new stuff, where they release, you can still get the packs and stuff. I like going through cracking packs and stuff. But this particular set, is 7 years old. So you're going to struggle to find cracking packs for that sort of stuff. And I'm collecting it for the enjoyment. So I start with my local LGS. I pull all the cards I can from the set, and then go to the next LGS. But some sets it's just very difficult, especially in South Africa, to get. So, and there's, I think, almost 100 sets in Magic the Gathering, probably more at this point. So, searching one by one for each set can be very, very time consuming. So, 1 out of 100 sets, I get the full set. I'm not going to compare. It's the same as buying lots or buying somebody's collection, in my opinion. I'm doing fine, and you, Ishan? Okay, so The cutting out might be on my side. The main cable for our internet, the entire South Africa's internet, was damaged earlier 2 weeks ago, I think. And it's been a bit iffy. So sorry. That's there's no ETA when they're going to fix it, if it's going to be fixed or anything like that. Yeah, I've done that as well. Get rid of the old cards. And then years later, you're like, yeah, I shouldn't have. But, decisions are made. Things happen. Let me think. Either very close to finished or finished. I think I've got 10, 12 sets. No, more. Probably 15 to 20 sets. Close to finished or finished. So a lot of the sets that have been released last year, I have a lot of the base set. Because I'm not collecting everything. I'm just collecting the base set. So I have pretty much finished all of those. And everything from longer than 2 years ago, I've probably got another 10 sets that are close to completion. Some of those are nostalgia sets, and some of those are just collecting. I have not played Cultists. I would not be surprised if that happens, Grey Ghost. I'm glad it helps. Confused. I'm glad that you get enjoyment out. Andre, again, I'm glad. Always makes me happy when people enjoy what I do. So yeah, Humans Don't Make Good Familiars, Book 2 just finished. I think the author has just started Book 3. So I'm going to wait for Book 3 to finish before I do anything. They're very short chapters, so me trying to keep up with them, it's just going to end in cliffhanger after cliffhanger. Thank you, Graham. Much appreciated. Oh, yeah. I, some of the cards we used to play with back in the day now worth tons of money, and we used to play with no sleeves or anything. But that's the nature of kids in life. Well, this is just Magic the Gathering. I'm just sorting my cards. So this is a full set of Magic the Gathering called Fate Reforged. Not really related to a format, where Commander is a format. That is the format I do play, but this not really related. Magic the Gathering has over 100 formats at this point. Not all of them good, not all of them popular. Well, Walt, about a year ago, our local substation burst into flames from all the load shedding. And they had to rebuild the whole thing. James, so most likely we're gonna have to phone most series until beginning of next year. I have 2 surgeries coming up, one sinus, one voice, with a 1 month to 2 month recovery time after both. So I'm not going to be able to record as much as I would have previously recorded. And the algorithm goes TFOS. So for the time being, till both surgeries are done, I'm just going to do TFOS. Once I've recovered from both surgeries, I'll head back into series as well. So it's going to be a while. It depends on. Look, I say that Commander is the most casual, less serious form of Magic the Gathering. But if you want to learn Magic the Gathering, the rule in general, then probably Magic Arena is your best bet. And then from there, once you've learned the basic rules, you can go into Commander or another form. The other thing is Arena is very much like Hearthstone, so it does behoove you to pay, but you can get away with not paying, just doing the quests to get extra. But as a way to learn the rules of the game, I'd say Arena's the best bet these days. And then if you're getting into Commander, you probably just want to get a Commander Precon. They release dozens every year now. So find a commander that looks pretty to you, or a type like an elf or a dragon that you enjoy, and then buy a precon that's similar to. Would be my advice. It depends on the surgery. So the first voice surgery took me a month to recover, and when I could start recording, I couldn't put in a full day's recording, but I could start recording after a month. So there's that. And the sinus one, they haven't given me a recovery time. I'm assuming it's going to be 1 to 2 months. Jaeger. Last time I checked, Ars Magica is mostly on hiatus at this moment. It also wasn't a very popular. So between those two things, we're probably not going to go back to Ars Magic. I think the last one posted was 6 months ago. Last chapter. Thank you, James. Much appreciated. Yeah. So you can get Arena on phones now as well. So it's a pretty easy way to get into Magic, at least to learn the basic rules. I think the audio being weird is mostly. Yes, it's just the weird background music. Oh, look, Commander's about having fun, not necessarily being good. I'm not that great. I just have fun. That's very true. I mean, when I first learned how to play, the guys that taught me the wrong rule. They taught me house rule, which in no way resembled the actual rules of the game. So for a year, when I was 12, 11, 12, 13, around there. So for a year I played the house rules and thought those were the rules. Until I started playing with other people. I was like, oh crap, I need to learn how to play this game again. It's my pleasure, Diego, and I'm glad it helped. Thank you very much, R722, for the donation. It is very much appreciated. I'm glad you enjoy the content and that it makes your day a bit easy. I don't think Terraria will be too much of a problem. The one thing I have found with playing older games is everybody who enjoys the game and has spent many, many, many hours playing the game expect that I'm going to be on the same sort of level. And while I have played Terraria, I haven't played it in years. So some people can get frustrated watching me fumble around for an old game. So it becomes a bit, picking the right games. But I have no problem with playing Terraria. Good evening, Real Arcalian. And good evening, Unhails Snipers. Ichthyfe, with the previous couple times that I've done guest narrations, it was received well enough, but there was some negativity sent towards the guest narrators, and it's not something that they signed up for. I get negativity, and that's part of the job, but they get negativity because they volunteer, so I decided not to do that, just because I don't want negativity sent towards them, especially as soon as they volunteer. So yeah, it's the same reason why I won't do AI stuff. Is people come to this channel because it's not AI. So me doing AI will push people away. Thank you for the kind words, Sam. I'll look into that, Grey Ghost, but no promises. Getting back into it, which is what I did recently, because the rules have changed a lot since I first started playing. So Arena helps with that because it teaches you turn order and the new rules and all of that stuff. So it's a good starting point. And you don't have to spend money on it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but people do, especially if it's something that most people know that you do this thing to do that thing. Some people can get a bit frustrated when somebody that they're watching isn't playing it at the level that they're used to. It's just one of those. You can, Artie. Not a problem. I'm glad you enjoy the style. Not everybody's cup of tea, but it's enough people's cup of tea that it warrants this channel. Enables me to do this stuff, enables me to go get sued. I am eternally grateful to all of you, all of this. Well, I had Vos rolls for dinner. 3 Vos rolls. That was my dinner. Because we didn't have power, so we needed something that we could cook on the gas. And Vos rolls always. I have, but I'm already into one expensive hobby. The Warhammer is another. Well, I mean, I briefly looked at the price tag and then bought a booster pack of. I have played some of the computer games, but I'm absolutely nowhere remotely familiar with any of the lore. Cheesecake indeed. We have a visitor. Winter dog. Ooh, sorry. Gave him a surprise. Like that. My pleasure, Charlie. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad it helps you get through stuff. Always handy to have something to do while you're doing stuff. Look, I think one of the things, not only with narrations, but YouTube and streaming and that sort of stuff, equipment envy is a real thing. So you look at me and you go like, what microphone do I use? And I'll be like, no, I use this expensive microphone. And you think, well, shit, I need to use the expensive microphone. And in reality, you don't. A crap microphone can get you started just as well as a good microphone can. And the better your equipment, the easier it catches mistakes. So when you're learning, having bad equipment doesn't matter. So I think a lot of starter narrators, starter YouTubers, all of that, think they need all this money in the world to start doing this thing. I started this channel with a $20 microphone. That was absolute shit. And then after 18 months, I upgraded to a $100 microphone and interface. So, as long as you're willing to work and put in the time and work around the limitations of the equipment you Don't focus on equipment. Focus on technique. Focus on bettering your skills rather than worrying about the equipment. $20. It was a 500 Rand microphone. The confidence in your voice thing comes with practice. Nobody inherently likes the sound of their own voice to start off with. You just learn to live with it and become used to it. It's one of the skills you have to develop. You want to become a content creator. Content. I mean, every time I've replaced a microphone, there has been a specific reason, and there's always been an upgrade when I have replaced it. But now I haven't replaced my microphone. Also, I mean, at the background here, this is quilted bedding nailed to my wall. And then in other places, I've got quilted bedding and underfelt nailed to my wall for noise reduction, which is basically the cheapest of the cheap way to do it. Look, I mean, streaming is a very difficult thing to get into. I started off streaming, and I was streaming to like one person every day for months. If it's easy, everybody does it, therefore it's not easy. So, whichever route you decide to take, you're going to have to put in time and effort. And get the skills related to whatever it is you're doing. And that's what sets you apart from other people. Or not. I just kept narrating until it started sounding good. So I edit as I go along. A way that I found to speed up time. So any mistakes I do tend to make that I pick up, I edit out as I'm narrating and then redo it. So there isn't like it's changed now that I'm doing the base camera stuff. So the TFOS now are recorded in one shot. And then my wife, the editor, goes through it and cuts out all the mistakes. So now we do have, but previously there weren't any mistakes that are saved. I can understand that fully, Vault. I wasn't 100% comfortable with my voice either. But desperation and a lot of time have made me still be okay with my voice. It's not my top priority listening to myself. What do you mean by the stream? The stream should be public. All my streams are public. Just as a general thing, the only time anything is behind a paywall is early release. Over time, everything becomes free. So whenever I record something early access, it will become free eventually. So there is no content on my channel or Patreon that isn't really available. Yes. Also, we're programmed to notice more audio problems than we are visual problems. Especially seeing as the information is being transmitted more via audio than via video. So if you have to pick one thing, get a decent mic, but you also don't have to have a decent mic. Nah, I don't put anything behind paywall. Like I said, the early access is just stuff I happen to record early, and then early access guys get access to. Whether that early access is 12 minutes or 2 weeks, it's very, very random. So I don't put anything permanently behind a paywall. For, I mean, streaming, I'm using OBS, but for when I record my TFOS, I use OBS for the video, and then I use Audacity for the audio. I use the microphone in the camera, and that way my wife can line up the audio from the microphone and the audio from the camera. But the good quality audio goes to Audacity. Yeah, so the wife thing was, she's a bookkeeper, and she was working for a company for a few years. But there's been an economic downturn, and they retrenched her. This was beginning of this year. I'm kind of blows. So I was like, look, I'm working 16 hours a day. I'll pay you to edit, and then I'll have more time, and you'll have more time, and we can do stuff. So she had to learn editing, and she did. Now she's my editor. Agro Squirrels Narrates is a family business. Yeah, I think YouTube's busy auto-adding adverts into the stream. Yeah, I mean, I do get the money for the people who want the early stuff, but I also don't want to make people feel that it's the only way they can support the channel. Just watching, enjoying, that helps. Sharing helps, you know, all the usual. It is my pleasure, Nicholson. I'm glad that it helps you through the day. And I'm glad you're enjoying it, Gregory. The problem with also learning other, like Warhammer and stuff, is then to find a new group of people to play with. I have found Magic the Gathering group to play with, so that's just easier to stick with. And I enjoy it. There's nostalgia factor. Game I enjoy. Is it expensive? Yeah, but it's a hobby. Oh, look at that, Grey Ghost. That's pretty cool, Volt. I mean, when I was in school, my teachers used to get me to stand up and read the stories out loud to everybody. So, that was one of the factors that played into me doing this. Charlie, I live in South Africa. Yes and no. So when I first started this channel, we came to an agreement. We'd eat dinner together. So that was an hour a day that we spent together. For the first 2.5 years, 3.5 years, 3 years, I can't remember how long. I'd wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning before my wife. I'd work for 3 hours. She'd get up. I'd say hello, get up and greet her and all of that, and then she'd go off to work. Then I'd work until 12 and sleep for 2 hours. Wake up, work until 5 in the evening, and then cook dinner. My wife would get home. We'd sit together for an hour, eat dinner. Then I'd get back to work until 3 in the morning. So, yeah. It was a shit show for 3 years. But now that she's working here, things have been a lot easier. We've also eased back on the amount of content we're releasing. There's that. Thank you very much, Charlie, for the tier 5. Very much appreciated. So yeah, at that time, I would see my wife for like an hour and 15 minutes a day. I'd sleep 5 hours a day, and then I would just be working the rest of the time, either recording, editing, marketing myself, whatever. Just work. Banderas, I have stopped doing Retreat Hell for 2 reasons. 3 reasons. Reason number 1, it's very infrequent. Reason number 2, every time he releases a chapter, it is a book. A half a novel in length. So between 40 and 60,000 words. So it's very difficult to plan around chapters that are just that large. And number 3 is it wasn't that popular. So things that make it more difficult to work around and schedule around makes it so I'm less likely to do them. And also the having to basically narrate an audiobook for every chapter. That also makes it a bit difficult. Yeah, I mean, on Fridays when I go play Magic, we go out together. She comes to the LGS. We spend some time together. We eat together. So it's nice. We get out of the house. Charlie, I'm going to say the same thing to you as I say to most people. Look after you and yours first before you worry about me. But I am very appreciative of this. It does mean a lot. It depends on the elf player. But mostly they're okay. With all decks, it really depends on the player. You get dickhead players, and you can play any deck, and they'll just be dicks, or they design their decks to be annoying. So it very much depends on the player and the deck, not necessarily the tribe. Technically, my EDH deck is elf, not elf tribal, but got a lot of elves in it. Yeah, I mean, it's also one of the things with Deathworld, the J-verse series. At one point, the chapters he was releasing were actual full novels. So it makes life that much more difficult to plan around. There's also the problem with Deathworld is J-verse being Creative Commons. So that's, I didn't want to get into that. That side of dealing with Creative Commons and what's right and not and legal and not. So I avoided it. I did do some on the podcast, but it didn't get that much attention. And then, like I said, just audiobooks worth of chapter. It just makes planning anything very difficult. I did see that, Volt, but they've been doing that for a while now. It's not just TikTok. Instagram and YouTube have had channels doing that sort of stuff. The only thing you can do is if you see a channel like that, let the author know, and then they can try to DMCA. Yeah, I mean, there's always an argument. But I personally think if you're not giving accreditation, then you don't respect the author. And if you don't respect the authors, why should the author respect? It's as simple as that to me. It's not only showboating. I mean, I keep talking about surgeries and stuff, and they're not cheap in anything. So people might donate stuff that they may not necessarily otherwise have donated because now I'm needing surgeries, and I'm okay. I can afford the surgeries. It's not going to be great, but if I do the streams, if I do the TFOS, I'll be good. So you don't have to worry that I'm putting myself in financial ruin with the surgeries or anything. So look after yourselves before you worry about my financials. Like I said, because of you guys, all of you, I am able to afford these surgeries. I'm able to take time off to do the things that I do. I'm able to afford hobbies that I haven't been able to afford for 20 years. And I am very appreciative of it. Okay, so When Death Wielders Meet, Book 2. There was kind of a Book 2. It was 6 chapters or something like that. Which I did narrate. The actual sequel to it is on HFY, but it's not narrated by me on YouTube. I've been speaking about the book that I've narrated. That was When Death Wielders Meet Part 2. So that should come out on Audacity at some point. And then you'll have the second book. Good evening, Mr. Carrot. I hope you're well. Hopefully you don't meet a dark bugs in a weird place. I figured you weren't talking about me, but some people will donate more than they should because they think I need the money very desperately. I don't. Any and all money is appreciated, but currently I can afford the 2 surgeries that I need. Not a problem, Arcadian. It's one of those things. I was actually talking to somebody last night, and I was like, look, when Stream first came around in South Africa, they used to lock my account every time I bought a game or bought a book on Kindle, because online transactions were so new that they just classified any online transaction as fraud. So I'd buy a book, single, like $1 book on Kindle, and they would lock my account for fraud, so I'd have to phone them, get it unlocked, and then buy another book, and then they would lock it again. It took years before they stopped doing that crap. The other, Justin, it's much appreciated. Like I said, all the donations and the members is appreciated. But my statement still stands. Look after you and yours before you worry about me and mine. The Great Ghost? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Good evening, DeSoda. Checks cost more, don't they? I know they do in this country. Spend a lot of money just to write a check. It's not even buy stuff. Like, I mean, like, you expect, like, you spend tons of money on this big thing. They're like, okay, don't spend money. But it's like, I bought $1 book and they locked my account. Numerous times. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the season. I've had a constant migraine for about 3 weeks. Probably related to the sinuses. And you know, before I've narrated many of the stories through migraine. Given the choice, I'd rather not. Oh, it should be out on Audibles. Yes, Audible at some point. But there is a mini book 2, which is on the channel. But the official book 2 will be out on Audible at some point. The full novel is available on Amazon as well. Because the author did a 6-chapter book 2. I think it was When Death Wilders Meet Again. Something like that. But it never continued. And then he went into writing the official second book, which is on Amazon, on HFY, as far as I know. And it is on somewhere else. Audible. Amazon Audible. But it's not there currently, as far as I know. But it will be in the future. Just give me the dashboard saying that I'm coming through a bit bad at the moment with Audible. So give me a couple moments while it sorts itself out. Okay, dashboard says I'm good. Test, test. Am I coming through clearly? Can people hear me? No, didn't color my hair. I put gel in it. Maybe it's the light, I don't know. But I don't color my hair. Okay. From the top. So Amazon Audible. It's a Amazon platform for audiobooks. The book 2 for When Death Wilders Meet will be going up there at some point. It is not currently there. But the book itself is on Amazon and is on HFY at the moment. I didn't color my hair. I don't plan on ever coloring my hair. I washed and brushed and put some gel in. That's pretty much it. No, I don't write any of my own stuff. I have thought about it, but that's as far as it's gotten. It could just be the lighting. It very much could be the lighting. The lighting's in a weird position here. Also, I'm not sick, so it could be that or the glasses. The T-Fast socket recorded with a blue light on my face, which could also make me look a bit older and change the color of my hair. It could be that as well. Joshua, AI voices in narration have been a thing from before I started my channel. There were successful channels using TTS and advanced TTS before. So, and successful, like really successful channels. So yes, they will be successful. I think there will always be a niche community that will prefer a human reading rather than a computer. And then there will be a majority of people that don't care. So it is one of the reasons why I showed myself, so that as technology advances, there is historical data of me reading. So if there is any clones in the future, you'd be able to. That was part of the question. I think AI is a part of the future, whether we like it or not. How it gets used, that depends on the users of it. AI is just a tool. I use it extensively for my thumbnails. It has helped me immensely to quickly make thumbnails. So, tool is a tool. Yeah, but I mean, also the what was green screen would also change the way my hair looks. As for my favorite stories, I can't think of the titles offhand. There's the one with the ambassador that almost killed the delegation because they ate chili. So basically, it was a 40-minute fart joke. There's the one with the reason why humanity expands into the universe is because humanity has ADD. And they keep expanding because they keep getting bored. Essentially it. Trying to think of the top of my head that I quite enjoy. I enjoy all the very light-hearted ones. I'll be completely honest with you. If there's an hour-long story that ends in a dad joke, I'm probably going to read that story because I think it's funny. I also like to keep things light-hearted if I can. I do. Here's some coffee. Caffeine. I am using Midjourney for my thumbnails. And have been for about 6-7 months now. No. I drink, what is it, the dark brew, either the Nescafe dark brew or the Woolworths brand dark brew. Instant coffee dark brew. That was a very good story, HF003. Very popular as well. the field of AI is incredibly interesting if you're into computers. If you're not, then it is completely and utterly inane and boring. Basically, computer magic man, make thing go happen. I was explaining to my wife yesterday. It was like, for 20 years, companies have spent countless amounts of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, to use any term other than AI for their system. YouTube and Google had artificial, I don't know, machine learning, all of that stuff, because of the negative connotations that AI had from movies. But over the last 2 years, now AI is back into the swing of things, and they're calling stuff that before they wouldn't call AI, now they're calling AI. Cheers, Ghost. Hope you have a good one. Necro, I'm sleeving a set. So this is a full set of Fates Reforged. So I'm just going to sleeve it, and then I'm going to put it into a file. Yeah, I'm having that at the moment. I do the cable being damaged for the country. It doesn't matter. Everybody is suffering at the moment. Tag loading like that is actually against community guidelines. So if YouTube catches you doing it, you can say goodbye to your channel. It doesn't stop people doing it, but it is against the community guidelines. Some days I'm like, I'm gonna understand how the algorithm works, and then other days I'm like, I just don't care. I really don't care. I'm gonna do my stuff. The people that like my stuff will get to see my stuff, or not. Cheers, Volt. I hope you have a good one. Seems like my internet's still having a bit of a wobble. I'm a rare person in Magic the Gathering these days as a collector as well. So I like to collect the sets. I like to crack packs and try to collect the set. This one I bought a full set. Just because it wasn't too expensive. You never know when you're going to need one of the cards. Okay, it's not too bad. Yeah, my internet's not happy. I think it's because it's going into peak time now. Fair enough. The algorithm is... I don't think anybody actually understands the algorithm, including the people that work at See you in a bit then. That's basically all of technology. It works until it doesn't. Theory is, in your description, the algorithm scans for and then promotes your video based on that. So if you say, me and my dog in a hot bath, it'll pick up the keywords me, dog, hot bath, and then add those in as additional tags. So what some people do is they have lists of the most popular tags, keywords today, and they paste it into their description, though the video doesn't have anything to do with that tag.